a lot of real estate agents get frustrated because they haven't asked enough questions to determine if that buyer or seller is the right time for them.
And so it's not that you don't spend any time with them, it's that you spend the appropriate amount of time with them so that when it is the right time to buy, all these other things line up and we have a sale. When you ask somebody, hey, what are we looking for at the very beginning? They're like, I'm looking for a 3-2 in this neighborhood. And in reality, they buy a 4-3 in that neighborhood over by that school. Because if you were listening to the answers to the questions along the way, you probably could have found it for them, but you weren't listening.
What's going on, guys? We are obviously not in the studio again this week. That's okay. I kind of actually like these. They're a little more, I don't feel like maybe I'm on a stage as much. I don't know. Anyway, but I kind of like these. It feels like a little more conversational. But we're going to talk this week about improving skills, improving your skill set as a real estate agent, specifically in terms of human psychology and what you can do to stand out above other agents. By the way, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, leave a comment, let us know how we're doing. If you didn't catch it, episode 100 aired last week with renowned real estate coach John Cheplack. So make sure you go back and watch that episode. You are bound to get a ton of good information and insight and excitement and motivation to go tackle the second half of the year, which, by the way, we are in the second half, right? I know it's June. Technically, the 6 months or the 7th month is until July, but what happens in the next 6 months is going to be extremely important in terms of your income. And what happens in December is actually going to be for the following year. So
honestly, really, unless you're under contract by November 15th-ish, it's not closing this year. So.
Exactly. So we're at halftime now. Anyway, so we've been talking with our agents recently about improving skill set, right? Improving your ability to connect with people. And what we want to talk about specifically today is sales psychology. And I thought the best way to break this down is to actually use real examples of how we approach buyers and sellers and even other agents in terms of psychology, understanding how the human brain works. If you talk to any agent that's been doing this for longer than a decade, they will tell you, I should have gotten a degree in psychology before I got into real estate, because there's so much human psychology at play when people are buying houses. That's just the long and short of it. I mean, you're dealing with a lot of emotion. You're dealing with a lot of anxiety. You're dealing with a lot of confusion. And so how do you, as an agent, as a leader in the transaction, bring people into alignment, bring people into, give them proper perspective, and create a smooth transaction emotionally? And also, what are you going to do to stand out, right? Amongst the other agents, how do you stand out in the eyes of your clients? So let's go ahead and jump right in. So the first thing that I will say is that in any situation, the person that is in control of the situation is the person that is asking the questions. This is a fatal mistake real estate agents make. It's a fatal mistake a lot of salespeople make. They enter the room and they do all the talking. And the sort of reaction of someone that's, if you've ever been in a room with someone who just is dominating the conversation, what are you doing? You're trying to back out and trying to get out of there as quickly as possible, right? So what are you doing to create engagement? And here's what I can tell you, psychologically speaking, ask questions. Asking the questions is what gives you, it communicates something. First of all, it communicates that you're a good listener, right? And people start to think something differently about you when you're asking really, really good questions and digging into their motivations for buying, their motivations for selling, so on and so forth. So the more you understand people through asking questions, the better the whole thing is going to go.
I had a story. I've never told you this story.
I can't wait to hear this.
It's a good story. So I was on the C-suite at a healthcare company in town in Tennessee. And we had a new C-suite member. And when we get a new C-suite member, the first thing we do is we have a board meeting. We introduce them to the board, right? So it was a publicly traded company. So the board of directors actually runs the company, not necessarily the C-suite, but we report to the board and we kind of carry out the day-to-day. So board of directors is there. This new C-suite member is there. We're having our first meeting with this new C-suite member. This person was actually over marketing. I'm over technology. You've got somebody else there over finance, and then somebody else over there that runs operations. So we're all sitting there, and operations guy, myself, finance guy, we're asking questions, right? We're asking questions about what's going on in our environment, about where we want the board sees us heading, about where they want to start investing, all these different questions, right? But this new C-suite member is just talking, just running his mouth to fill air. And the board member at the head of the table, the lead board member, says, "I think this is your last day in your new role." And he was gone that day.
Really?
When he left, they walked him out that day. He had been in the role less than a week, and he said, "I always know that the smartest people in the room ask questions, and the dumbest people in the room run their mouth." And I didn't like it, so exit 1 weekend. And this guy's making C-suite member at a publicly traded company. He's making over $1 million a year. Walked out first weekend.
Good night. Well, I mean, that goes to show you.
Now that's probably a little harsh, and that's probably I'm not sure he had to do it that way, and I'm not sure it had to be that sudden. And maybe the guy was just nervous, right? There's a lot at play there, but that just goes to show you that if you're the one over there running your mouth, the smartest person in the room is asking the question.
That's right.
It's not the one that's just filling air.
That's right. And even for you as a professional, how can you actually deliver a solution until you know way more information, right?
Well, and that was his thing. It's like, oh, I know how to fix this. I know how to do this. I know how to get our marketing. And how do you know all this when you're 1 week on the job? One,
Yeah.
but two, like if it was a brilliant person, he would have walked in and asked so many questions that he had a lot more information to start talking and start making suggestions or solutions or whatever.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And it's just, but an even deeper level, right? It in terms of creating connection with the person that you are talking to, right? And also, I mean, you could say the same thing about this guy in the C-suite position. That how is he going to lead an organization unless he understands people? This whole thing is about understanding people, right? Yes, there are tasks to be done, but the people that the agents that win at a high level understand the psychology of that person, right? Now, is everybody empathetic? Is everybody a certain personality style or on the Enneagram or whatever? No. It's just about understanding themselves in relation to those other people and how they're best communicated with and how to best relay information. So one of the things that I sort of start with when I'm talking about psychology, just the psychology of decision making, and maybe we can throw a graph on here, I don't know, but basically the way people make decisions or the way they work their way down the decisions. And so if you can kind of think of a triangle or a pyramid and turn that thing upside down, the bottom point is going to be the point at which the sale is made, and basically we're going to gather information all the way to the point of sale, right? So the first thing that people need to feel comfortable with generally is a company, right? They need to understand. The company needs to have legitimacy in the seller's eyes. So if you are with a boutique firm or something like that, you at least as a real estate agent need to touch on, hey, this is who we are as a company. This is what we believe in, right? And that's really important to people because, and here's another thing that happens. If you were to say, get a listing from a seller and you go put a sign in the yard, then people around them are going to ask, hey, I've never even heard of that company. What is it? Right. And so you're putting, so it's going to create doubt in their mind, and you don't want to create any doubt. So we're just going to give them a 15-second, pitch in terms of who the company is. The next thing that they need to understand or have agreement with is you as a salesperson. They need to like you, or at least understand that you're a competent person to handle this. So that's the second part is like, hey, who am I going to be dealing with specifically? Then we're going to go into product. Okay. And that is what are you offering them? What are the details of the product that you're offering them? Then we're going to go into price. How much is this thing going to cost? Then we're going to go into timing. Is it the right time for them to make this decision? So for instance, I like a Mercedes Gullwing that probably costs like, $250,000, right? So it's really cool. It's a classic car. So I'm okay with the company. The salesperson's kind of irrelevant in this situation. I like the product. I like the price. It's not the right time, right? I've got 6 kids. They're all in my house. I don't even spend $250,000 on a car. Okay. So, again, people can have a agreement with all of those things, but it may not be the right time. And that's where I find a lot of real estate agents get frustrated, is because they haven't asked enough questions to determine if that buyer or seller is the right time for them.
Yeah, and we talk about that a lot. It's like, putting them in the right bucket from the get-go so that you're not spending an inordinate amount of time on someone who is clearly not ready to buy.
Mhm.
And so it's not that you don't spend any time with them, it's that you spend the appropriate amount of time with them so that when it is the right time to buy, all these other things line up and we have a sale.
Right. Now, you can create a sales pitch based on kind of the information, that sort of upside down triangle that I just gave you. However, it's more important to me that you understand their psychology and introduce those things conversationally versus like a static pitch that's real boring and dry. Because again, that's put you in the position of talking. So you want to ask enough questions. So specifically, when we get to the product portion, you can deliver the information that they need to hear based on their situation, and you're not delivering just you're not just doing word vomiting or talking about your technology or talking about your marketing or any of those things that probably don't matter as much to their specific situation, because you want to connect to them and solve their problem. Okay.
Yeah, and I've seen agents do this. They rattle off all the questions too, right? And they don't listen to any of the answers. They're just going through the questions. Like, my broker told me I'm supposed to ask this, this, and this.
Hmm.
You have to listen to the answers. The information is in the answers, right? It's like the
Right.
information about where they're headed, why they're moving, what matters to them, what's important to them.
Hmm.
All those things are actually in the answers to the questions. That's why when you ask somebody, "Hey, what are we looking for?" at the very beginning, they're like, "I'm looking for a 3-2 in this neighborhood." And in reality, they buy a 4-3 in that neighborhood over by
Hmm.
that school, because if you were listening to the answers to the questions along the way, you probably could have found it for them,
Hmm.
but you weren't listening.
Right. That's exactly right. Okay, so let's also talk about just actually one little aside there, because this is one of those things that comes up a lot when you are, especially if you're in a location like us in Nashville, where people are moving in from out of state, where people go, "Oh, I'm just going to rent for a year, or I'm going to rent for a couple of years and kind of get a lay of the land." I do not see that as they're not my client anymore. I don't see that as, oh, they're definitely not going to buy. They actually don't know. That is it's ideal for them to think about it that way. It's less committal, but I would say in about 70 to 80% of the situations when someone tells me they're going to rent for a year, they end up buying. So I only say that to say, it's like I'm going to say, yeah, okay, no problem. Let's look at some stuff, and then they find out, well, actually the rental market's pretty tight, and I'm going to pay more, to rent this place monthly than I would if I would have just bought it and made a payment. And the rentals, they're limited and they're not in the areas and school systems I want, so it's just better to buy. But you have to let them walk through that process, and you don't want to be imposing or tell them that they can't do something. Anyway,
Yeah, no,
that's just a little aside.
that's a great example of someone assuming that they're not transactional because they say they want to rent instead
Yeah.
of asking the right questions and finding the answers.
Yes.
What I would say is, like, a way you might know someone's actually not transactional is they would say, "Hey, look, I'm 2 months into a year-long lease and I can't get out of it."
Hmm.
Um, but then you move them into aspirational research, and then you're working them through the funnel through the course of that year, so that 2 months away from when their lease is up, 3 months away, you are showing them the right properties, you are getting them in the mindset of buying, so that they don't re-sign a lease. So that would
Yeah.
be another example of something where, like, hey, look, not ready. It's just not the right time, but it will be the right time in eight
Hmm.
months.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Okay. The next thing that I want to talk about, as we get into sort of some specifics, which I felt like is the best way to do it, is your outbound phone calls, right? As you make calls throughout the day, whether they're cold, whether they're warm, whatever they are, right? But specifically when we're talking about cold calling, like to a for sale by owner, right? Or to a internet lead that came in, something like that, PPC or Facebook ads or something like that. The the thing that's important is what we call a pattern interrupt. We've talked about this on the podcast before, but basically people have a psychological pattern, right? It's the same thing. So I want you to think about yourself. When you answer the phone, right? You see the phone and you're going, okay, I'm going to answer this thing. right? You are typically thinking, why, especially in today's world, how long is this going to last? Okay. So if you're picking up a phone call from a number you don't know, how long is it going to last? I'm going to try to get off the phone as quickly as possible. So I'm looking for a reason to hang up, and I'm also looking for, and I'm maybe a little bit irritated or annoyed that this is sort of interrupting my day. Okay. So I just want you to put yourself in that position. What does that person need to say on the other side? What kind of tonality do they need to have on the other side for the conversation to last more than 30 seconds? What do they need to have? So first of all, your tonality needs to be, which do not do professional voice, like a sales call voice. You actually want to use tonality as if you're talking to a friend, to like your best friend. So I do that, like if I'm doing a call to a real estate agent, I'll say, "Hey, man, how are you? It's great to meet you. Hey, I don't know if you heard, I'm Brandon with 10 Oaks, right? Okay, so I'm going to have that conversationally. I might even stumble and stutter a little bit, and that makes me real versus an overly professional, um, script, right? So we believe in scripts, but the scripts are there as a launch pad. So you want to make the conversation a lot more friendly and the tonality friendly. Okay.
Pacing and inflection matter too. So like how you're carrying the conversation, so you're not rushing it. So that's obvious. It's obviously a sales call when somebody's trying to burn through it because they're they have the anxiety around making those calls. So the pacing matters too.
Mm-hmm. So specifically when we're calling FISBOs and what we teach our agents is we go, "Hey, this is Brennan with 10 Oaks Real Estate. Hey, I'm not calling to list your house." Right now, it's true. It's like we're going to introduce an idea that gets them to sort of meet with us, to have an appointment with us, so we can determine if that's something that we want to pursue with listing, or determine if it's even reasonable to list it. So we're not necessarily calling to list a house, and I'm saying, so we're not lying, right? We are saying it's like, hey, we're doing a little research here, and so we have a script that we do from that point on, which sounds something like, hey, we're doing an open house in the neighborhood. We want to see all the inventory that's around. Saw your house online. Looks great. Can I come and get some pictures of it so that I can share it with people that come to the open house on Sunday? Real simple. Right now, the reason that we do that is because it handles a lot of the common for sale by owner objections. But again, more specifically, that pattern interrupt is there so that we can sort of break up the pattern, and it causes maybe even a little bit of confusion or a little bit of like just kind of stops them in their tracks.
Curiosity.
Right? Gets them to engage. Yes, it's curiosity. That's the better way to do it.
Yeah, and
Curiosity.
yeah, I mean, and honestly, all these things are true. But one thing that I would say is like when you're using a script, you need to do a ton of role playing with other agents in your brokerage, with your broker, with whomever, because the script has to be you. It can't be, you can't be reading a teleprompter. It's going to be obvious, even if you're not on screen, even if you're not doing a video call, it's going to be obvious because they can hear your voice. They can hear your voice mowing through the words. It has to be, the pacing has to be right. The tonality has to be right. And the way you're communicating with people has to be right. And that can only be done with a lot of practice. So you're going to start with a framework. You're going to start with a script, but the script really needs to be adapted to the current situation that you're in. And you can only do that with practice.
I had a guy call me last week and I said, "Hey, Brandon, it's John. Hey, I was checking in, man. How were sales last month?" And so I'm like, and I'm going like, "Who is this?" And I'm trying to sort of piece it together. And then he goes, "Hey, I'm with, such and such. We're out talking to, real estate brokers about X." Okay. So I go, "Hey, that was a really good pattern interrupt." So even like it works with me who teaches this stuff all the time. If somebody has a really good pattern interrupt, it works. Right. And it actually caused me to engage further with this person, right? Because of his tonality and because he created a little bit of curiosity, right, to further that conversation. And I would say that conversation lasted more than 2 minutes. And that's what sort of the goal is, especially on those cold calls, is not necessarily for sale by owners. That goal is there to set the appointment and get off, right? But specifically when you're engaging with internet leads, PPC or Facebook ads or whatever the case may be, you want those conversations to create curiosity so that you can do some research into the client, what their needs and wants are, and you want them to last over 2 minutes. And that's what we would consider a real estate conversation, is something that lasts for 2 minutes. Okay. So pattern interrupt. Okay, the second thing, and this is one I put on Facebook today, but video texting, and this is one we've had a ton of success with. Agents are really scared to do it, which is great for you, listener of the Agent Bridge podcast, because you're going to stand out above all the other agents who are too scared to do this. Okay, so a video text basically is in your follow up or in your reaching out to them, especially if they're not, calling you back or they're ghosting you. It just takes a video text and be like, "Hey, it's Brandon, just checking in on your house. Did you guys make any price changes to your for sale by owner? Blah blah blah." Okay, so again, why am I doing that? Because it makes me a real human being. Okay. Of all the texts they got that day, there probably was only one video text that was probably me. Okay. So even if they don't watch it right away, I'm doing something different than everybody else is doing. And so psychologically, I'm being separated from the pack. Okay. Now, what we've seen with our agents doing this recently, and even in the last week, is much better response, much better engagement from people who have been dormant for a long time. So you need to work this into your workflow. I do them every single day for recruiting appointments to confirm an appointment because, and also I'm doing a psychology play for a real estate agent that I'm talking to because we're hiring real estate agents all the time. One of the things that I'm doing is I am, because people flake and miss appointments all the time, even if I set up a calendar. So I am introducing myself as a real human being, right? That has an expectation of them showing up. And it's that much harder to say no to me or to cancel that appointment if they're dealing with a real human. I'm creating a little bit of a bond.
And it really doesn't stop with the video texting. Like your face needs to be present everywhere. So social media, wherever, because you're becoming a person of authority or a person of interest to them because that when they see you as a talking head, that's what it presents itself as, is like a person of authority. Like this person is teaching me something, they're instructing. You've always looked at people in that manner. So use your face on every platform, not just video text.
Yeah. Authority and credibility. That's what you're going for.
Credibility. I left that one out. That's a good one.
So video texting, again, that's going to get you to stand out. We have proof that this works. You're going to have to implement this into your business so that you can see. But if you've got somebody that's ghosting you, right, send them a video text and let me know how it goes. And feel free to comment and try, if you try that and let us know if it's working or not. But we had an agent yesterday, Rhonda, who's just knocking it out of the park. And Rhonda, I think she was trying to get for sale by owner to set an appointment and they were not really responding. And she sent a video text and they said, "Oh, I really appreciate that. That's very professional. I appreciate you sending a video text." Boom. There you go.
And she's all over social media right now too. So.
Yeah, she is. All right. Okay. So also just in your buyer and seller conversation. So let's just talk about open houses for a second again. And this is one where we've talked about, we do not do sign-in sheets. We don't like sign-in sheets. I want to read a comment from, we posted this on Facebook. Hey, should you do sign-in sheets or should you not do sign-in sheets? But there's a psychology play to this also, because if someone is walking in, right, they're on guard. Okay. Have you ever seen if you've been a realtor for longer than, 6 months, hopefully you've done an open house. Right. And hopefully you've gotten the chance to experience people when they're walking in the door of your open house. Well, how do they act? They're like a little bit cautious. They're a little bit like, "Oh, am I going to get accosted?" It's like, I do want to see this house, but I don't want to give a bunch of information and get spammed by someone. And I also don't want to have a really uncomfortable conversation. I just want to look at this place. Right. So that's the initial sort of feel of someone going in, or initial thought process of someone going in. So are you going to fight against that or work with it? Right. And here's what I can tell you. Working with that psychology is going to create connection. And it also is going to create opportunities for you to ask questions. Okay. So when they're walking in, one of the things we say is like, "Hey guys, great to meet you. Come on in. Let me go get you a sheet on the house," right? And the reason that I go greet them and then go get the information sheet is because I'm creating space and creating comfort, right? I'm not coming on too strong. I'm not going to walk them through the house, right? And then what I do is I go, "All right, well, here's the here's the sheet on the house. You guys take a look around. Take a look at the master bathroom. They just remodeled it, and let me know what you think of it. So I'm giving them an assignment, right? So that's another place for them to sort of another touch point. And then as they're sort of going through and they pass through, I might ask a couple of questions to create engagement. Now, the reason that I'm doing there is because I'm going for authentic connection, not just a bunch of names and numbers of people who are not going to ever respond to me, and also that the information often is incorrect. I've heard all of the arguments that you can give me, and I promise you that none of them justify to me uh, doing a sign-in sheet that's going to just give you zero results, right? Limited results. Um, so it's better again to work with that psychology to create comfort, to create space, to again be curious and ask questions for people, of people, to connect with them. Um, yeah. What do you have on that, RL? While I'm looking this up.
No, that's, I mean, you nailed it. There's really nothing to expound upon there. I mean, it's really the more you can come across, and this needs to be true. It can't be faked, and it will be
Yeah.
obvious if it's faked. The more you come across as a friend to them, or someone that's trying to be like them or understand them or see it from their perspective, the more the sale is gonna, the higher the chance the sale happens, right? So like when you walk into someone's house, the first thing you're trying to find, if let's say it's for sale by owner instead of an open house, thing you're trying to find is something that makes you like them. Do you see a Titans jersey on the wall?
Yeah.
All right, we're the same. Let's talk about the Titans. Do you see? My wife used this one time and sold a $1.8 million house. She walked in and she saw they had a map of a county in Mississippi. My wife's from Mississippi. Instantly, they start talking about Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing you know, she's listing their house. So they want to feel the same, and the same goes for the people that are walking in the door to an open house, right? Like you're trying to find some commonality with them, some understanding about where they're going, why they're moving, what they're doing here. Let's say that somebody walks in the door and they're like, "Hey, we move in here from Texas." Brandon goes, "Well, hey, I'm from Texas. Where are you from in
Yeah.
Texas?"
Yeah. Where
Instantly, conversation happens, and it's a deeper conversation than would happen. You shove a sign-in sheet in their face.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's all you're trying to do is you're trying to make it a friendly conversation where you're getting to know each other, and you're developing. You used the word bond earlier. Developing a bond that lasts longer than 10 minutes.
Yeah, let me give you an example of that conversation because let me just take it a step further. So for that person who's from Texas, right, they're moving to Nashville. One of the things I'm going to say, I was like, okay, where are you guys from in Texas? Okay, right, and I have a huge family, so I've got family from just about everywhere in Texas. And I'll say, well, let me warn you before you guys move here, barbecue is not the same, right? They do a lot of pulled pork and pulled chicken, so you're not going to have those like Heart Eight places or those big smoker barbecue places like that here. So I'm just warning you, you got to get ahead of that, and that's going to create again additional conversation around shared, like around commonality, and then we have something in common. So if you so again, look for those things, just like RL was saying, look for those things that make you the same, that you can agree on, right? And that's going to sort of again bond them to you psychologically, and that's what makes you again stand out, and that's what makes you different. Okay, and the other thing is when you do get their phone number, which is usually an easy ask, if you've got genuine connection, when you do give them a phone number, or when you do get their phone number, follow up with a video text. I'm just telling you, it's going to make you stand out because they're going to go to other open houses that day, by the way.
And can you see how if that same person were to walk in and I shove a sign-in sheet in their face and they write down their name and their number and they write down Bart Simpson and they just go tour the house, what are they going to do? They're going to try to find the door. They're like, this guy's going to come hound me. He's going to come try to ask me a bunch of questions about buying this house, and they're getting out of there. As opposed to he walks in, you guys are talking about barbecue, they do their little run around the house. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to come back to Brandon like, "Hey, thanks for having a little chat with me. Hope your family's doing well," because now they've got that family connection that people back in Texas, and they're going to leave. So completely different experience. Like you have to do this. Like sign-in sheets do not work. I can't believe anybody is still using them. Mm-hmm. There's some brokers that require them. We don't. So if you have to do it for your broker's purposes, then that's one thing, but they just don't work.
Yeah. Just to that point. So this was the comment we got on, again, just to bring this back. So this was the I asked on Facebook, like, should you do open houses? Should you do sign-in sheets at open houses or not? And I asked the general public this along with real estate agents. So one of my Facebook friends in Oklahoma City said, when I've gone to open houses, sign in immediately strikes me as, quote, let us spam you, unquote. Connecting with the agent via conversation and being personally asked for contact info once they know what I am looking for has never felt intrusive or burdensome at all. That's the consumer telling you, hey, this is what I perceive as genuine connection, what I perceive as, okay, it doesn't feel intrusive or burdensome. And I want to point out something. If you connected with me and understood what I wanted, basically that's what he was saying. Connecting with the agent via conversation and being personally asked for contact info once they know what I am looking for. So that, again, that is what we've been talking about this whole time, is connecting with people, asking the questions to really dig down into their true need, right, and solving for that. But that can only come through, first of all, understanding how that psychology works, and then asking the right questions and really digging in to understand them. Okay. All right. So again, just to sort of recap, okay, as you sort of improve your skill set, and hopefully you've got some takeaways here. We don't get super formal with our psychology. I wanted to give you examples because I feel like story is a better teacher here. But, specifically, okay, the person in control is the person asking questions. The person also who is understood as more empathetic or a better listener is the person who's asking questions, period. Okay. Number 2, make sure you're doing your pattern interrupts right on your cold calls. Number 3, video text for follow-up sets you apart from the other agents. And then number 4, on your buyer and seller conversations, again, make sure you're digging in, understanding their true need before you start delivering solutions. You got to understand what they want, what they need, right, where they're trying to get, so that you can deliver the plan that works for them and get them to their desired result. RL, anything you want to say to wrap up?
Good wrap up.
Awesome, guys. Hey, thank you so much. Again, if make sure to like and subscribe. Go back and watch episode 100. We were super excited about that, and we will see you next week. Bye.
All right.